Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by Deck Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And you know what? I'm not one bit surprised. There is nobody watching live right now, and I'm not offended. It's a Saturday evening. I expect all of our loyal viewers and listeners to be doing other things right now, and that's totally fine. Because I know you'll catch up with the show eventually this week, but we're coming to you from around a Saturday because I did not have power for a couple days here, and it is extremely difficult to run a podcast if you don't have the electricals. And no electricals, no Wi-Fi, no nothing. And wait a minute. Aaron is here.
That's right, Aaron. Way to be, man.
Aaron, thank God we got one.
Way to be.
What else would we have to do? I don't know, Aaron. If there's some wrestling match you got to go to tonight, man, isn't WWW in town or whatever it is? I don't know. Anyway, thanks for being here, buddy, and we'll have some fun tonight. Hey, what are you guys drinking tonight? Scarps?
The last of my redemption.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Okay. A little redemption. And
did it work?
What, Ben?
So did it work?
Oh yeah, I'm officially on the
I don't know, that's arguable.
He has no redeeming quality.
Don Julio 70.
Okay.
And Cloud Mentality. It's a hazy IPA.
Very nice. I've got some
hazies. It's like I'm going to finish the end of this bottle.
Oh.
Good thing I've got another one.
Now, have you always been a tequila guy?
Well, I grew up in Arizona, so yeah.
Well, enough said. Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah. I'm finishing a bottle as well. I've got a little bit of Woodford Reserve here that I'll be working on, and I literally just threw down dinner and ran down to the Fortress of Steelertude here to run the show. But anyway, so we have some things. Before we get to anything else, a very, very happy birthday to Ben, who turns 64 today. And, we appreciate him being on here. He's one of those older folks, doesn't know technology very well.
Funny. He's older than I am. Talking shit.
No. I think you got me by a year or two. But be that as it may, have a very happy birthday. We'll get this show rolling and through so you can go on to the birthday festivities that I know await you. The one thing I want to touch on first is the coaching staff of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The very large coaching staff of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Well, do we know by number just how small it is? Because I think it's 16 or 17, and I believe that's the smallest
16
in the NFL in terms of coaching staffs. I assume that depends a little bit on how you classify.
Right. Because they've got a bunch of guys that are coaching assistants.
Right.
But they don't list them anywhere. They don't put their bios out as far as like staff.
Right.
They're basically, are they interns? Would that be the way I would describe it? I don't know. But you go to other coaching staffs and they have an assistant coach for almost every single position group. So you've got an assistant DBs coach, you got an assistant linebackers coach, an assistant edge coach, assistant defensive line coach. So you got two coaches for every group.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of hard to compare what the Steelers are doing because they've got all those coaching assistants. I know they've got a small staff, right? But I'm not sure exactly how small. Is it really 16 or is it more?
As of right now, that's what they listed as. You're exactly right. They don't. They call a lot of guys coaches who aren't really listed as such. Ryan, I'm gonna give you a haymaker right off the bat here. The Steelers now also have the most diverse staff in the league. When you were a part of that organization, is diversity, was that something that was openly preached, or was it just something that was?
I mean, of course, DMR, the Rooney Rule. I mean, like, let's be honest.
Right.
and right now, no, D'Amico Ryans was hired for the Texans, and I apologize if I leave anyone out, but there's only 2 black head coaches in the league, Mike Tomlin being one of them. And then, as we talked about last week, Mitch retired. I said that was going to be a big loss.
Mhm.
Mitch is obviously the first black player to ever play at Alabama, and he was with the Steelers for like 30 years at least. It's been a long time. I don't necessarily want to say that like it was talked about. I don't ever remember hearing a conversation like that. But I'm trying to think of some of the coaches when I worked there. We talked about Richard Mann on the show, Scotty Montgomery, Kirby and James Saxon, Joey Porter, James Daniels, James Daniel, not James Daniels, the offensive lineman.
Right.
Coach. Ray Horton, Carnell Lake. So yeah, that's just off the top of my head. So I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
well, I think you nailed it right at the beginning when you said, "Look, this is the team that is the Rooney Rule." I mean, why wouldn't they? I mean, and they talk the talk, they're going to walk the walk.
And get to your point, I know that's a team with the Rooney Rule, and I as we just talked about, but I think it's great that Coach Tomlin put together, which I believe is the most diverse staff in the league currently, and that's great. But I don't want to necessarily say that during his tenure he didn't have minority coaches on his staff. So you know what I mean? I feel like that's sort of, I don't want to say overblown, but it's not like the Steelers have ignored diversity over the years or anything like that.
Absolutely, yeah. The most recent guy that came in is Aaron Curry.
Oh, Aaron Curry. There we go.
Well, and most fans that are close to the NFL, they know Aaron Curry as a guy who was thought of very, very highly when he came out in the 20-teens out of Wake
2009.
Forest. What was it?
2009.
God, was that late ago? Oh my God, we are old. And he was 4th overall to Seattle, and it just never clicked for him. But he went back to he got into coaching. He did some college coaching and got involved with the Seahawks. He's been doing some stuff there, and now he comes over to the Steelers. And I'll be honest, guys, I wrote in Quick Hitters this week. I kind of called him a new outside linebackers coach, and I was totally wrong. They've announced him as inside linebackers coach, and Jerry Osofsky, who most people just know as Jerry O, he's done. He's gone. He was no longer going to be with Steelers. He's a former player, longtime coach. And so, Ben, I would ask you, does this at all signal any sort of a change in how the Steelers might approach their defense?
No.
Not at all. Okay.
No. It just means, look, it sucks because Jerry O was with the team for 22 years as a player and coach. Long time, right? But at the end of the day, this is still a results-oriented business. And the inside linebackers were not producing. And one of them was a top 10 pick. And he just didn't develop. And at the end of the day, it's just, sorry, Jerry, it's not working out.
Do you think, Ryan, do you think it's possible, Jerry O very sadly lost his wife to cancer about a year ago. And, I can't help but wonder, were the Steelers thinking about making this move at that time and then just out of common courtesy said, this is not the time to kick a guy when he's down. Let's get through another year and see where we're at. I mean, you know the way that thing works better than I do. Or was this just a something that Ben alluded to? We haven't gotten much out of our inside backers in recent years, and it was time for change.
I mean, that's a good question. It's a fair question. I when the news came out, I messaged you guys and I said, this is cruel business. This is a cruel business.
It is.
Yeah, Jerry O lost his wife. And then Brian Flores was hired as a senior defensive assistant / linebackers coach. And then they hire Aaron Curry. And I don't, and then I was a little surprised by this. Not even a acknowledgement from the Steelers that, we're parting ways with Jerry O, or we're not retaining Jerry O. And like his bio was off the website by the time they announced the Curry thing. And, it's Jerry O. Jerry O literally slept at the facility like that. Like, I'm not even I talked about this when Devin Bush was bitching about how he didn't have a coach that played in the NFL or whatever. And I talked about all the examples of, and his linebackers coach, who might be the biggest underdog story ever, played at Pitt, played at the Steelers, but like Jerry O, like lived and breathed that stuff. And so, when you live and breathe something and your wife passes, maybe you don't live and breathe that something as much as you once did. And I don't know this, but knowing Jerry O, like that guy loved football, as we all know. But I'd come to the facility early in the morning, and like he'd be like sleeping on the floor in his office, and like I'd walk past him, like startle him or whatever. Like Jerry O is a unique cat. He was a good dude, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'd be stunned if Jerry O wasn't coaching somewhere else soon, like even if it was like a high school job or something like that. I apologize. Maybe there is news out there that he already went somewhere, but
I haven't seen it.
We joke and we laugh about this, right? We joke and we laugh about, why does Matt Canada still have a job, and why does this player still get playing time, blah, blah, blah. And then there's an example like this where you didn't really necessarily know it was coming. And then there's a lot of, factors at play, and it just reminds you that, at the end of the day, as Ben said, happy birthday, Ben, I'm going to agree with you, that this is a results-oriented business.
Yeah.
And while, Jerry O had some pretty decent inside linebackers for a long time, I just don't know if his coaching, Devin Bush sucks. Let's just be honest. But I don't know if that's all on Jerry O, but they could easily say, well, Jerry, you didn't develop these guys. However, Bobby Spillane, HVAC specialist and run stuffer, he's an inside linebacker, and he probably overachieved.
No argument for me. No. I do find it a little odd that they didn't make some kind of statement. I mean, this isn't just a guy who's been there. This is a former player.
Joey Porter left. Same deal. There really wasn't.
Yeah,
there was
I guess you're right.
They just didn't renew his contract. Same deal.
Well, Mitch retired. They talked about. Did they say anything about?
Mitch had been there 29 years.
There was a statement.
Did they say anything about Brian Flores? I can't remember.
Ooh.
Nope.
I don't think so.
And to me, that's a missed opportunity, because the Steelers basically brought him in knowing he was probably going to leave. Like, I don't want to say.
Right.
I mean, they didn't.
For sure.
It's not charity.
They knew they were going to get a year or two max out of him.
It's not charity, but
they would benefit by it.
Yeah, I mean, he was basically like alone. Like they're like, hey man, let's help each other out here for a year. So, and to me, that's a missed opportunity. But again, I don't know. I don't know who runs their social, nor do I care. But like, I was just a little bit surprised, like they didn't acknowledge Jerry O, and then but they didn't acknowledge Brian Flores either.
And there's one other thing is connected as we are to certain individuals, and you guys more so than myself. But you don't always know what goes on in that facility every day.
Oh, no.
I mean, who the hell knows why they made the decision not to do that?
There are people in the facility that aren't connected to all
absolutely.
The things
absolutely.
I mean, seriously. I mean,
no, you're right.
When Bruce Arians retired, he walked.
That must have been fun.
He walked.
For you.
Fortunately, I was still young in the business, so we talk about this. I wasn't really privy to what was happening.
Right.
I remember BA. He said Mia, who's Coach Tallman's secretary, he like said goodbye, gave her a hug, and he walked this way towards me, and I'm the first desk there, and then there's people here, and I stood up. I said, "Hey, BA man, congrats on retirement." He goes, "Retirement?" He goes, "I'm going to Indy, baby. If you need anything, give me a call." And then I was like, "Huh?
Really?"
Yeah. And then like he hugged my coworkers, high fives, shake hands, and then literally I was like, and then part of me was like, "I don't think you retired."
I don't think so.
And then in a matter of moments, they was like, he's going to Indianapolis. Interesting.
Wow. Hey, at least he had something lined up already, which of course he did. For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Do you guys, Ben, do you think they'll still add anybody on the offensive side of the ball, coach wise? I mean, we're heading into the freaking combine in less than a week here.
We have a very small offensive staff.
Mm-hmm.
It would be nice if they added some guys. You'd obviously have to, if you wanted to add like an assistant offensive line coach, you want a guy that Pat Meyer could work with.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly where else you would add, but they need somebody to come in there and add something to that passing game in particular. It's just,
yeah.
But on the defensive side of the ball too, Denzel Ward is an assistant outside linebackers coach. He's not even a position coach, for example. And last year that was fine. Whatever you had Brian Flores, you had Jerry O, and you had Ward. You had 3 guys and a group of about 8 players. I mean, you don't really need any more coaches.
No.
But now you got Curry, who's brand new to the team, and Ward, who's an assistant position coach. Maybe you do need to add a coach there, for example. The DBs didn't play great last year. Maybe you need to add a DBs coach.
Is Terrell Austin the most senior now on the defensive side?
Yes, Terrell Austin, and he was last year. I mean, let's be honest.
I thought Dunbar was here a year.
Well, I guess when I say senior, Ryan, I mean just most experienced.
Okay.
No. The guy who calls the shots is what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, okay. In that respect, too. I mean, Dunbar obviously has been around coaching.
Dunbar's been around for 4 seasons?
Seems 4 or 5, yeah.
It's been a while.
Well, we've discussed, several times before this idea of if they've had a senior defensive assistant, why in the hell not a senior offensive assistant? So to your point about the passing game, my God, they could use help there, Ryan.
Here's what I don't understand, and I'm going to get on a soapbox here. They have excluding strength and conditioning coaches, and I looked around the AFC North, excluding strength and conditioning coaches. Every AFC North team has at least 20 coaches, assistant coaches, and coordinators. The Steelers have 16 right now. Okay. And 5 of those are on the defensive side of the ball. So yes, I agree. We need to look at the offensive side too, but they have 16 coaches or coordinators, and the combine is this week. And somebody on Twitter, and it might be a burner, or it might be whoever, said, "Do you really believe all the coaches go to the combine?" Yes, there is literally nothing else going on in football right now.
Right.
Okay, yeah, maybe a scout or whoever might be looking at the XFL to see if, maybe there's some talent there or whatever. But scouts, trainers, coaches, all go to the combine. All of them go to the
team doctors.
Yes,
team doctors go.
If you're
psychologists go to the fucking combine.
If you're not at the combine, you're not in the right place. So maybe he was just being a smartass on Twitter, but the point is they have 16 coaches. The combine is this week. So if you start adding coaches, when are you going to add them? Because they're playing catch up to me. And I understand that right now, Kevin Colbert told me this one time, and it was very important to understand is that scouting now is so much harder because everything's homogenized. Everybody has the same information. This isn't Bill Nunn picking up John Stallworth, telling everybody to leave when he's timing him in the 40, and he knew Stallworth was much faster, but it rained that day, and he told everybody to go home. And the next day he's like, "All right, I timed him when it wasn't raining." This isn't like that anymore. So
you're right.
So for the Steelers to just be like, Oh, well, the information is the same. Everybody has the same information. Wouldn't you want people in it? Wouldn't you want them there rather than like bringing them in after? Like I want them. Like I want to go to the combine. I want to break bread with them. I want to watch these drills with them to see what they have. I don't want to be giving them information and ideas. I want them to be with me and presenting information and ideas. So I just don't understand why they won't hire a couple assistant coaches. Like, it blows my mind.
The reason that this is significant to me within the division specifically is Mike Brown is notoriously cheap. Notoriously cheap. And his staff has 4 more coaches than the Steelers do. That's not insignificant.
That's saying something.
And if you want to talk about coaching over the last couple seasons, I'm going to give the Bengals the edge.
The Bengals?
Walk like an Egyptian, Ben. It's your birthday, babe. Let's go.
I would too. Hey, Scarps, I was going to ask you this next week, but I'll ask it now since we mentioned the combine. Have you had any opportunity to ever chat with the scout that runs the 40 and stuff, Mark?
Gores. He's the best.
Yeah. What's he like?
Unbelievably honest. In the Mon Valley Hall of Fame. That's right. He's a Pittsburgh guy. He went to Ringgold, and you might recall a certain quarterback that went to Ringgold that won 4 Super Bowls named Joe Montana. And guess who snapped Joe Montana the ball? Mark Gorzak.
No way. Yes. What a bit of info, man.
Yes. Unbelievable. Gores is wonderful.
I just love watching him. He's so no nonsense when he's running the 40. It's just bang, 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 bang.
What's funny is he loves this. He loves the spotlight. You have to love the spotlight.
How couldn't you?
But he does care about those kids. Like he really does care about those kids. So he plays it up a little bit, but he does care about those kids. But yeah, Gores is wonderful. Check out the Steelers media guide and look at Gores's like resume. It is unbelievable. He's been at like Weber State. He was at the original USFL in like the early 80s. So was Mitch, but Gores is a character. He's one of a kind. And
that's cool. I've always been meaning to ask you, and I just hadn't gotten to it.
Oh yeah, he's the best.
I think we talked about Gores on SCB Overtime, the very first one.
Really?
When we got so fucking drunk. Yeah.
Was I on that one?
Yeah, you were.
Oh, okay. I don't know how many we've done in the past.
Yes,
we did that conversation on one of the overtime sessions anyway, for sure. I'm certain of that. But I think it might have been that recorded one.
Okay. Well, even if I
wouldn't
remember it.
3.5 sheets to the win that night. It was great.
Yeah. That was assholes. I don't know if you guys have heard this, but Taylor Lewan wants to be a Steeler.
Fuck him. First, fuck him for spitting on TJ Watt and calling him a motherfucker and kicking him. All right. Fuck him. Yes. But again, I talked about this on the show already. Yeah. The guy's had 2 ACL surgeries in the last 3 years. He's missed 30 starts over the last 3 seasons. 30. And he wants at least $10 million on a 1-year deal. Fuck him. Fuck. And I'm not even worried about it. The Steelers aren't going to sign him. It's not happening. It's people that are pushing this narrative. It's a fucking pipe dream. Have fun keeping yourself busy with it. You're fucking idiots. God.
Well, I only brought it up because I just die laughing at social media and these folks that do those. What the hell do you call those where they put the guy in your team's uniform? I can't
jersey,
remember.
The jersey
swap. Yeah. It just cracks me up and
Pony.
Yeah. Now, on a tad more serious note regarding another Tennessee Titan, people seem to think Bud Dupree is an option too.
Nah.
I personally don't see that either.
I'd like to have Bud back. That would be fantastic. Sure. I'd love it. But I don't see Bud taking a 1-year prove it deal in Pittsburgh to be a backup where he can't fucking prove it.
No. And I think there's people that
Ramsey's not coming here either, Aaron.
There are people that truly believe that if Bud Dupree came back, he would start over Alex Highsmith. That's the problem. Okay. I don't see that. There's no way in hell he starts over high school.
I would be surprised if that happened.
Yeah.
But it would be fun to have some competition at that position.
That is a good point. I mean, obviously you're not going to have any for TJ, but it would be good to have a little competition. That Tomlin loves that.
Hell yeah.
He loves the competition, especially in camp and stuff. But I don't know. And as far as Ramsey and Bobby Wagner and everything else, Wagner, you know what?
Wagner, I think that is a great fucking idea. And here's the way I would approach it.
Yeah.
I would not keep Miles Jack if I was signing Bobby Wagner. I would cut Miles Jack, who is a good player, but can't seem to stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And I would use that $8 million to pay Bobby Wagner. You would have a steady presence. Granted, yes, he's 32. He's got a year or two left, tops. But what he could do with your linebackers group for a couple of years, if you had young players in there, helping them develop, moving them along, and also not missing games. The guy doesn't miss games.
Yeah, durable.
Yeah. Would be huge. It'd be a steady presence within that room. And it would be, in terms of adding leadership alone, huge.
Well, just having Mark Robinson being in the same room with him all the time. I mean, what a huge asset that would be. No, I would love it. Wagner, I guess, is in that, part of his life, I suppose, where, hey, I've won a Super Bowl. Do I want to go win another one, or do I maybe want to go play for a coach like Tomlin, play in Pittsburgh?
Apparently, the deal with LA, the Rams, was they have salary cap problems, and they need to cut salary, and he wants to win.
Okay, well,
and so they mutually parted ways because they basically have told their players this is a rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
They can't cut Stafford; he's playing like shit.
He barely played last year.
Yeah,
right.
What's his fuck is a free agent?
Baker
Mayfield.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp's coming off an ACL.
Yeah,
or not an ACL. It was
pretty bad injury though.
I thought it was MCL, PCL. Both though.
Yeah. Bobby Wagner though, he wants to go to a contender, and that is definitely not the Steelers.
Yeah, and I get that.
And also he played for the Seahawks. He played for the Rams. I could see him in a 49ers uniform next. He just stay in the NFC West, stay in the NFC. If they're a contender.
Because one of their linebackers,
it wouldn't shock me if he went to Philly, although they've got their own issues with the cap right now.
Yeah, Fred Warner. God, he's such a good linebacker.
Sick.
It's him and Greenlaw, and then there was a third guy. I think
Greenlaw's good too.
His name is totally slipping me right now. In any case,
I wouldn't be surprised too. I don't know I'm going to call it right now. Hot take: Bobby Wagner is going to be a Cowboy.
Oh, for God's sakes!
Fuck you, Ryan.
Well, okay. I guess he likes mediocrity. First round of the playoffs.
No, I don't see him as a guy who, at this point, wants to make the most money.
Mm-hmm.
If you wanted to make the most money, you would go to Dallas or Washington, no question.
But I don't necessarily know so much about the money. I think he would look at be like, okay, I could get to play with a Micah Parsons. I know they're not the same position.
An edge, right?
I know, not the same position, but I'm saying that
frees him up to do a lot of stuff,
inside, outside.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they get to go, 12-5 and not win.
What you're saying is, Bobby Wagner has a foot fetish too.
Oh.
No, you weren't saying that. Oh, sorry. I guess I jumped to a conclusion I shouldn't have jumped to. I apologize.
We never do that on this particular program. Hey, quick reminder to visit our friends at DraftKings. Get the app, people. I won a few bucks today. I was playing some Premier League parlays. I actually won a few dollars today. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TPPN. Make your first deposit and get a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code TPPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Get involved, people. Hey, did you guys know that Kenny Pickett works out in the offseason?
You're such a liar. He does not.
Believe it or not, he does not just sell insurance and do cigarette commercials.
I thought he was just fishing during the offseason.
Well, I'm sure he finds a little bit of time for that. But yeah, he and some of the receivers apparently got together and are working on some stuff. And according to social media, that's been a huge thing. And look, that's what they do. It's so. And then the other thing I love is he's been working with a quarterbacks guy, Tony.
Quarterbacks guy.
Yeah, Tony Italiano. I can't think of his last Racipi. I can't think of it.
Here's a guy.
Here's a guy. So I love what happens is they'll Tony will post a video of Pickett doing a very specific drill, and people will be like, well, why doesn't he throw the ball harder? Can't he throw the ball harder? It's like, you're missing the point. The drill he's working on is about his footwork. It's not about how hard he can throw the ball. And it's hilarious to me how quickly people overreact to this shit. It shouldn't be a surprise because this is the day and age we're in. But the completion of the pass was not nearly as important as did he get his footwork right.
The big arm is huge. It's a big deal, and it's a rare quality. And I get where people are looking for that from Pickett because they had it for so many years with Ben. I mean, late in his career, it wasn't there anymore. But I mean, you look back at 2008, 2010, 2011, Ben, Jesus, man, the shit he could do. Oh, my God. 2014, 15, 16, 17 with AB, that deep out he would throw.
Oh, yeah, it was money.
Thick, okay? This isn't the same kind of quarterback. And in my opinion, and a lot of guys who scout quarterbacks will echo this, a lot of them, not all of them. Mechanics are more important than arm strength, but the most important thing to me is accuracy and decision making.
Yep.
Okay. So it's where you put the ball and when you decide to throw it there. You got to throw with anticipation, and you've got to throw it accurately. So that's what he's working on right now. At the end of the day is his accuracy, where the ball ends up when he throws it. That's the point of that drill, not how fast he can zip it down the field.
Yeah, no, and it just cracks me up. Peyton Manning used to stick a freaking ladder behind him in practice, and he'd put a camera on it. And after every single rep, he'd go back and he'd look at it just to make sure his feet were doing exactly what they were supposed to do on every drop back.
Yes.
He wasn't worried about how what his arm was doing or anything else. He was worried about footwork in that particular moment.
Again, Peyton Manning had the big arm, though, too.
Well, yes.
He didn't have to worry about his arm at all.
No, but what I'm saying is he was focusing on one particular aspect of
mechanics.
playing quarterback. And people just see this one video and they lose their minds in reference to it. And I know that the guy that Pickett is working with, obviously he wants to build a brand. He's working with some great young quarterbacks and some young guys going into college as well. And, he wants to build that brand. So sure, he's going to put stuff out on social media, but at the same time, it's like, just relax, everybody. Just relax. Kenny is what he is. He's working hard. He's doing all the right things, and what was the other thing? He was throwing the medicine ball against the wall. And oh my God, I thought that was James Harrison or something like that. It's like, relax, people.
He didn't say that.
Well, I know he did.
That's the thing is that Kenny Pickett seems like a very likable person, right? He has an office at the building. He does his homework. He's a hard worker. He has
probably brings apples for all the secretaries.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, the guy, and you know what? We talked about this. his stands are the ones that make me not like him. And then maybe I should just stay off social media or whatever. But you're right. The guy throws the ball in shorts and a backwards hat, and everyone's like MVP. And it's just like, Jesus Christ. What do you like because nothing can prepare you for facing 4 300-pound defensive linemen with an O-line that's still a little shaky, in my opinion, than throwing the ball in shorts.
That's right.
Not even a helmet.
Right.
I mean, listen.
Backwards hat.
He looks cool. I wish I was him. What else more do you want me to say? But the bottom line is just hold your friggin' horses.
Yeah. See, I'm gonna wear mine like that, and now I will be.
You look like a dork.
I know, look like a complete idiot. But what else is new? It's what my wife calls me all the time.
Casey Kasem. Who's that?
Yeah, check this out. If you're looking at the oh, and welcome, Jen. Jen just jumped on. Follow our very own Casey Kasem. He's got a Twitter account now at Steelers Casey on the Twitter. That's right. And I have no idea what you should be looking forward to, ladies and gentlemen, but I guarantee it's going to be high quality humor.
Casey, if you're listening right now, I just want you to know Elon Musk said make sure that you put parody account in your name so that people know you're not.
Oh, yeah.
Not
given
serious.
The fact that Casey Kasem is actually dead, would people really mix the two of you up?
Did they ever settle where his body was supposed to be? Remember the whole big lawsuit his kids were arguing with his
kid
wife?
Or his wife? One of the two.
It was the kids versus the wife. We want the body. No, I want the body. It's like, oh my God. The poor guy, all he wants to do is spin some records in heaven, and these people are, tearing apart his remains. I want to talk before we get too far off the rails already. A little bit of draft strategy. Everybody knows the Steelers have, those top picks there in the early rounds. But, there is a space there between the 4th round and the 7th round where there's nothing. Is there any way, and I know there is, but is there any way that they could look to maybe trade down in those earlier spots to pick up a few more selections? Ben, what do you think?
Or trade up in the 7th. Yeah, if there's somebody there they really covet, then I definitely see it. I mean, you've seen that shit. Isaiah Loudermilk. They traded a future pick to nab him because they really wanted to work with him.
Yep.
But
will they trade? But will they potentially trade down? Because that's not something we saw Kevin Colbert do a lot.
I mean, maybe. Honestly, this year is a crapshoot. I have no idea. I think that Omar is going to try to make a name for himself, just like he did with the whole trade thing. And again, I want to remind everybody that there is a downside to what happened there when they traded away Chase Claypool for what amounts to a first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
Claypool was available for trade the entire season before the season started.
Mm-hmm.
And people weren't meeting the Steelers' asking price, and the Steelers didn't bend. Omar didn't bend. And, people would bitch all the time when Colbert traded away players and didn't get as much as fans thought that player was worth. But the flip side of that is when Colbert traded 4 players, he didn't overpay.
Yeah,
ever.
That's true.
Ever. And people would say, oh, he's a fucking genius. Oh my God, I can't believe he got this player for that. Blah, 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 blah. So what I expect to see, since Omar was a hard ass about trading away the Chase Claypool and going forward, if he does the same thing, is that the teams are not going to be as amenable to the Steelers' offers when they go out to acquire players in trade.
I was thinking, and Ian brought this up maybe a week or two ago, that, having that pick at 32, and again, that's the beginning of the 2nd round because is it Miami that doesn't have a first rounder? I can't remember who it was. The possibility of moving up a little bit to get that that fifth-year option for a first-round pick, has to be weighed, and I think that's a potential too. I don't know. I just look at the needs this team has, and I don't think they can fill all of them in free agency.
Well, here's the flip side of that too, Mark. I mean, would the Steelers have a first, 2 seconds, a third, a fourth, no fifth or sixth, and 2 sevens?
2 sevens.
Would you trade your 5 and your 6 for the first round and the first pick in the second round? I would.
Say that again.
Would you trade your 5th round pick and your 6th round pick, which we do not have,
right,
for the first pick in the second round, which we do have?
Yeah, I think you have to.
I would do that all day.
Yeah.
It's a much better.
You mean
much better outcome, more likely outcome to be a successful player.
You mean you swap 32 with the other team's second round pick to get a 5 and 6?
No. I mean, we're missing our 5 and our 6, but we have an additional second, which is at the very top.
So you're going to give up the 32nd pick for?
I'm not talking about an actual. I'm talking about
the comparison.
My bad. Sorry,
yeah.
That was my bad. Because I'm like, wait a minute, like you're getting if you're giving up 32 for a 5. I get. Okay, my bad. Sorry.
No. Okay.
See, so we're back to disagreeing.
Yeah, which is fine. Makes the show better. All I'm saying is we don't have a 5 or a 6, but we do have the best pick in the second round.
Yes.
So I'm really not complaining too much.
No, I don't. I'm not complaining. I'm just looking at it in terms of an overall numbers issue, I guess. But I also
Steelers,
understand.
Listen, the 5th and 6th rounders are cheap to trade for.
Right.
If the Steelers see somebody there that they covet, they will move back into that round.
Yeah, they'll find a way.
And they will, something. Future picks, a player, swapping positions. I don't fucking know. They'll find a way, and they'll trade back in, and they'll take that player.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Ryan, is Cam Sutton your number one free agent priority?
Ooh. Our own guys, obviously.
Yes. Yeah, right. Because right now that's all we can talk about.
No. I'd go with Edmonds.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Now I'm not suggesting you'd let Sutton walk. I'm just suggesting that you're saying Edmonds would be your top priority.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the most important year of his career, he performed very well. He's always available. Him and Minka play well together. And that doesn't mean I'm saying I want to lose Cam Sutton, but I'd go with Terrell Edmonds.
Okay. 1 and 1A.
Yeah. I mean, I think Sutton has been largely available as well. He's got position flexibility, but he's also not one of your upper level corners in the league either. And then I think there's also something to be said for Larry Ogunjobi.
Yeah. I think that Cam Sutton and Terrell Edmonds are both more important free agents than Ogunjobi, honestly. But Ogunjobi's not unimportant. He's very important.
No, especially when you look at that current depth situation.
Bobby Spillane's an unrestricted free agent too. Maybe he wants to see what he can make on the open market.
Okay, don't laugh. Is it possible that somebody offers him a lot more money than we think anybody will?
That's possible, but
yeah.
I mean, if somebody wants to overpay him, go ahead.
And I don't want to say overpay, but I do think that there will be another team that's interested in him. I mean, this is not hyperbole. He was better than Devin Bush this year. He might have been better than Miles Jack. Miles Jack 0.0. John Blatarski doesn't have a sack, doesn't have a forced fumble, doesn't have a fumble recovery. Come on.
Led the team in tackles.
Oh, great. Bobby Spillane can tackle. He can't cover, but who cares? I mean, so yeah, there might be a team that says, you know what, you were
despite all of his missed games, Miles Jack still led the team in tackles. Recall that the previous year, the guy that led the team in tackles was our fucking free safety.
Right.
So just adding Miles Jack to the team changed the dynamic enough that Minkah could actually play free safety as opposed to playing linebacker.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think there's some value there. I will not say that the Bobby Spillane played better than Miles Jack, even though Miles Jack, again, I supported going ahead and releasing him if you can sign a guy who's an improvement because he can't stay healthy.
Yeah, if you know you can do that, then absolutely. But at the same time, there is something to be said for a guy who can collect 100+ tackles.
Yeah.
Imagine
if he played 17 games.
Yeah. No, I know. Let's see. He's in. Jen mentioned that before. This is also true. I'll post it right up here. The thing too with Spillane is that, I mean, how many other places is he going to go where he can be a potential starter? I don't know how many, and that's why I think that he probably will take pretty much whatever the Steelers offer him. I've been wrong before. I'd like to say hello to.
I think they're going to have to pay him.
Black and Yellow Texas Steel. Has Black and Yellow ever been with us before? I don't recognize that one.
I don't know.
Welcome to the show. Glad to have you. Very glad to have you. Yeah, always looking for new folks jumping in. I think it's going to be fascinating in that regard. I think Ogunjobi, Edmonds, Sutton, obviously Spillane, especially Spillane. I mean, Spillane leaves, you got Mark Robinson. I mean, man,
Mark Robinson has been up and down, and granted, young player, but he has a lot of potential, and he could be the guy in a year or longer. Spillane's further along right now than he is.
Oh, for sure.
Honestly, I think Spillane's probably at his ceiling, but he's good enough on first and second down. I just wish they stopped playing him on third.
Well, I think that's something that we all kind of wish, right?
You think?
Yeah, just a little bit. Next week, I think we'll be into the month of March, obviously, and we'll be diving into free agency a little bit more. The Steelers are not necessarily one of these teams like perhaps the Ravens, who have franchise or transition tag opportunities to think about. We really aren't necessarily in that spot.
No, they're going to franchise Mason Rudolph for sure.
That is always a.
Sorry, just being a dick.
I'm surprised one of the beat writers hasn't looked to see if he's already cleaned out his apartment or whatever it is.
I was told he cleaned out his locker at the end of the season. It was like, hey, giving everybody hugs and see you later. But then I was also told Zach Gentry did the same thing because he's not sure if he's coming back either. So that was disappointing.
That's this is a really deep tight end draft class too. So I mean, but the problem is you're not going to find well, I don't want to say you're not. Just the chances of finding somebody you can plug right in if Freiermuth is hurt is going to be difficult.
I don't see Gentry as a starting.
No, I don't either.
Guy, but as a role player,
sure,
as a guy you can get a start or two out of. And who can come in and block for you on rundowns? He's been pretty good.
Hey, he has improved.
I mean, we the first couple of years he was on the team. God, we just bitched so much about him. We hated him, and he's gotten so much better. I'd hate to lose him now. I really would.
No, I'm in the same boat, and I think he's one of those guys that the Steelers love to hang their hat on. Those guys they draft in the mid to late rounds, they come in, they bust their ass, they get on the field more. They don't like to lose those guys. So,
Jennifer, Kenny and Mitch just hosted a bunch of players down in Florida to work with them off-season stuff. So I don't think that Mitch has divorced himself from the team as of yet.
It is interesting that he's there. I think
it's great. I think it's great. I love the fact. I love the guy's spirit. Yeah. I love the fact that he's willing to put his hand into the pile and do the work no matter what. You know, even though he's not the guy, he's still willing to jump in there and do the work anyway. I think it's fantastic.
I think it speaks very highly of him
of his character, right?
Yep. I mean, he doesn't have to be there by any stretch. Mr. Scarpino, I didn't even ask you this, but is Casey Kasem in the house tonight?
In the house.
Or is that a dumb question?
You already know that answer.
Well, fire it up because Mr. Ben Anderson has to get off and onto his birthday
So, hey,
festivities.
we should probably mention that if people want to send their own letters into Casey, they can do so now via DM on Twitter.
That's right.
Yeah, that's Steelers Casey. I don't know. He told me he has a new account. All right.
It's right there. You can follow our very own Casey Kasem at Steelers Casey.
You know, he loves the engagement and also loves talking about tunes and how that ties into the Steelers. Is Casey on deck?
Casey is on deck.
I didn't know if we had another assignment. Here we go.
Real quick though, I bet you Casey's a bit of a drinker. You know, I bet he you know, I wonder what Casey would be drinking.
Here's one bourbon, one scotch, and one beer by George Thorogood. All right, here we go. Casey's Coast to Coast, American Top 40. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the week that was February 25th, 1975. Ryan for Pittsburgh writes, Dear Casey, first and foremost, I'd like to wish my mom a happy birthday. For February 22nd, happy belated, Mom. It's incredible that she still puts up with me after so many years. Perhaps it's because we both have written you so many letters. You may recall Debbie from Pittsburgh writing to you about her love for Leif Garrett, David Cassidy, and John Travolta many years ago. And here I am writing to you weekly about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Casey, it's good to see the hiring of inside linebackers coach Aaron Curry. I would have preferred Steph Curry, who's a multi-time NBA champion, that has lethal offensive tactics, but I can't complain. Aaron Curry is a former first-round pick in 2009. He's just 36 years old. It's good to see the Steelers hire someone that isn't eligible for Social Security or doesn't have their AARP card. But with addition comes subtraction. They now have 16 coaches on staff. You may be wondering if that's a lot or a little. Well, excluding strength and conditioning coaches, every team in the AFC North has at least 20 coaches or coordinators. Even if you add the Steelers strength and conditioning coaches, they wouldn't even make it to 20, Casey. My goodness, they're cheaper than the Pirates. But hey, have no fear. They're going to be spending $1.4 million to remove the troughs at Acra-Heinz Stadium. Now, when you take your kid to the game, he won't be traumatized by what he sees in the men's bathroom.
What is the big fucking deal with those troughs? Sorry.
Casey, I'm not even joking. I still have flashbacks of the hell that was the Three River Stadium troughs. They need to add more coaches. It's a must. I have to admit, I was really upset about seeing the news this past week that the Colts hired arguably the greatest named coach in NFL history, Jim Bob Cooter, as their offensive coordinator. I wanted him here, Casey. I had the campaign slogan ready. Yin's got Cooter. Casey, are we sure Jim Bob Cooter wasn't in the Doobie Brothers? Well, Ryan, Jim Bob Cooter was in fact not in the Doobie Brothers, but here they are this week, up one spot to number 4, off their album What Were Once Vices Are Now Habits. Here's Blackwater.
Oh, Blackwater, keep on rolling.
Oh my God!
That was great.
That was good.
And for the record, I don't know of any Steelers podcast that have ever had Leif Erikson Leif Garrett, excuse me.
Yeah,
that was my
the
history.
Viking lead singer, Leif
That was great.
And for the record, the trough at Three Rivers was just kind of the floor because it all ran around to the drain. So people would just piss wherever there was an open area. They would just piss against the wall wherever there was open spots. It was fucking disgusting.
Oh yeah. You could have put little plastic sailboats in there and they would have just sailed all the way down to the drain.
Exactly. Yeah. However, it was a goddamn loud stadium. It was so good that way. Oh, I missed that.
It was. Jennifer said that's a slogan for a T-shirt. Which part, Jennifer?
I think she meant you just got cooter.
You just got cooter. Can you imagine? Oh my god. Oh. Our guy Dan at DC Farrell's shirts would have been.
Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Well, you don't have to worry about it because Jim Bob's in Indy.
Jim Bob Cooter.
He was in Detroit, I think, for a little while too.
He was. He's only 30. He's young. He's only 36.
Wow.
And then he was like a special assistant to the Eagles in 2021, and last year he was the passing game coordinator for the Jaguars. So when we talk about like adding an offensive mind. Right. I understand he's going to take an OC job at the Colts, but like there are people out there. So like, I know Matt Canada's offense is just such a juggernaut, but anyway,
it sucks. Yeah,
it does.
Actually, but the running game concepts improved. They got better over the season. Just the passing game concepts are awful.
And that's what Mike Tomlin's banking on.
Yeah, let's hope it improves. Anyway.
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for being here tonight, everybody, on this very special Saturday episode. Ian was going to join us, but he said his kids were insane. And the last thing we wanted or needed were 7,000 or 8,000 kids constantly running into the screen and whatnot. But anyway, we will more than likely be back in our regularly scheduled slot later on this coming week, Thursday night, 10:05. p.m. Eastern, 7:05 on the left coast. Make sure you check out the website, steelcityblitz.com. We are, of course, on socials, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And, of course, now, don't forget, you can also follow Steelers Casey on Twitter as well for the latest American Top 40 info and tidbits.
And send your letters in.
That's right.
And send your letters in. Send your own letters in.
Oh, that's going to be an absolute.
I mean, I think the listeners should absolutely send their own letters in. I think this is a fantastic idea.
And I'm really on board with this because for the first time, I will not be getting any of that hate mail. It can.
No. You can still send hate mail to SteelDad.
Oh right. But at least this mail will go to him. So anyway, enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. And for these guys, this is SteelDad signing off on the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by Deck Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And hey, go Steelers.
Ravens suck.